All right, let's kind of go ahead and let's break this down. We have Ross Tucker here, and he's going to give his opinion on the situation down in Cleveland, why Kevin Stefanski is not playing Shador Sanders when clearly Dillon Gabriel plays like hot garbage. I want to hear from his input of his opinion, see if he's going to be spewing a bunch of foolishness or he's going to make some sense in what needs to happen with Kevin Stefanski and Dillon Gabriel in order for these Cleveland Browns organization to turn things around. Let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
Wonderful. All right. Okay.
So who?
And by the way, he's on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, UCSS, and let's get right into it.
So who do you what do you think is the bigger problem? Is it the coaching or is it the talent?
No, it's the talent. Yeah, I mean, look, they have their bottom five, maybe bottom three at by far the most important position in the sport, which is quarterback. We all know that. That's been the case for the Browns for the last couple years. And then their bottom five, maybe bottom three at wide receiver. Guys, it's a passing league. That's a bad combo, okay? That's a bad combo. And then to make matters worse, the offensive line, which used to be top five and gave them a chance, and which is why they won a playoff game in 2020, and which is why they were still pretty good a couple years ago. The offensive line is not even in the top 10 anymore. I don't even know if they're in the top half of the league. I haven't written it down, but they're not in the top half of the league more than likely. So, and then, by the way, maybe your best position groups, running back and tight end, three of those four guys are rookies that get the snaps at those positions. Just not a good position to be in. I mean, it's why their offense isn't good and their defense is pretty good. So that's the issue. The goal is that by next year, they know who their quarterback is, whether it's one of these guys on the roster now or whoever they draft next year, and that they are on the.
Listen here, dude. There's nobody that's coming out next year is going to be better than Shador Sanders. There's nobody that's coming out in the quarterback realm next year that's going to be better than Shador Sanders. Dude, now you're starting to piss me off already because you're not, we already know a dummy can see that Dillon Gabriel is not it. I want you to address the issue in the room that it's not just the talent, it's not just Dillon Gabriel, but it's Kevin Stefanski. It's Kevin, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Call it for what it is. You're already sugarcoating it.
The ascent at that position, really, really hard to even be above 500 when you're bottom two or three at that position.
So Ross, for all the angry fans that we hear you talk about the talent, and I agree, the talent has been trash. I've been yelling and screaming at the top of my lungs for 3 years about it. But we say, well, why is it a foregone conclusion that when we ask people, do you think the Browns will make any changes in the front office? Everyone says no. If they're responsible for taking those players and missing and doing things like that, why is it that they can have those deficiencies at receiver and not have talent in the offensive line, and they still are welcome with open arms to come on back in?
I think it's a fair question. Listen, everything stems from the fact that they made a huge bet on Deshaun Watson, and it failed. I mean, there's no way around it. Now, I think what is interesting, and I'm sure you guys talk about it, is to go through some of the other moves they've made. With a guy like Jerry Jeudy, it's okay, maybe he's not worth this, but he's also the best.
Listen. See, he's already dancing around it instead of answering it directly. See, Deshaun Watson, let's don't even talk about Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is not even a thought right now. He's not playing. Address the elephant in the room. Address Shador Sanders. See, you got to watch yahoos like this. See, they'll go all in tap dance like Gregory Hines all around the question instead of addressing the issue. There's no need to talk about Deshaun Watson. We already know he was a bust. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Common sense on why Kevin is still playing Dillon Gabriel, and he's playing like trash, and he's willing to sink the whole ship, the whole season on Dillon Gabriel.
We have, and they haven't drafted as well at that position. It's funny because, I would think that Andrew Berry would have been on the hot seat before this draft class. It's almost like he had the excellent draft class just in the nick of time, right? And maybe that was the case with Stefanski in 2023 with the run at the end of the year with Flacco and making the playoffs. Maybe Stefanski would have been out after that, but just when he needed to, he was able to rally and get that team to the playoffs. It feels like Barry had a great draft right when he needed it, which probably buys him another year.
Ross, let's talk about the quarterback situation. It seems like, in my opinion, I think it's a consensus here, Dillon Gabriel's gotten worse each game. I know it's only 4 games, but it's not like he's a first-round pick that, is owed a season long of playing. I'm personally ready to see Shedeur Sanders play. And this whole idea that he's not ready, I don't trust the Browns to evaluate whether he's ready or not. I mean, even if he's not ready, who cares? Let's see it. Let's see what he's got now. What do you say to that?
Well, based on everybody I've talked to, it doesn't sound like he's ready. But guess what? I don't think he's going to be ready this whole year. And guess what? He's going to play. I would be very surprised if he doesn't play. The only way he doesn't play is if Gabriel really starts to play well, which, that'd be great for Cleveland if that happened. But they have 9 more games left. And if it keeps trending the way you think it is, Bull, or if Gabriel has some of the terrible turnovers like he did on Sunday in New England, then it will go to Shedeur. It's kind of like the same question when you guys are asking me, when should they go from Flacco to Dillon Gabriel? It's like, I don't know, but I think we'll kind of know when we see it. I think that's the case with Gabriel. Now, I'm a little surprised to hear you say worse every week, and you felt that way in the game against the Dolphins. We could have that discussion. But
my God,
I do think
that's a Yahoo
I would give Gabriel at least a couple more games. I mean, you've given Gabriel 4 games, right? So you think you should give Shedeur 9 games? They obviously like Gabriel.
Oh, see, listen to him. Listen to him. Listen to him. Listen to him. Listen to what he's saying. Listen to him, man. Listen with a third ear. That's the BS I'm talking about, man. Dillon Gabriel is playing hot garbage. Sit his ass on the bench. He deserves to be benched. Immediately. Crazy, man.
No more. They took him in the 3rd round for a reason. They didn't even draft Shedeur until the 5th round. It wouldn't really make a lot of sense to me unless Gabriel was bad for Shedeur Sanders to get more games than Gabriel. That, to me, would be illogical. I mean, at that point, then you're thinking, well, then why did you draft Gabriel in the 3rd round if you want to give Shedeur Sanders more games than him? We'll see. I mean, coming out of the bye, if Gabriel is really bad or has back-to-back bad games, I think they probably will make the move. But I wouldn't make the move after only 4 games for a rookie. And in my opinion, the first game where I really thought he played poorly.
Wouldn't you say, though, like, isn't it possible, and maybe this is crazy, but that they realized what most of us thought to begin with, that drafting Dillon Gabriel was a huge mistake in the 3rd round? Maybe they realized that middle of the season? Or is that not
I don't think they realized that yet. No. Okay. And I think that you guys are being impatient.
Wow.
In all sincerity. I mean, look, on Sunday, I'm doing my 3rd Tennessee Titans game this year, okay? So they played the Chargers. So I've watched a lot of Cam Ward, and Cam Ward definitely has more physical ability than Dillon Gabriel, but if Dillon Gabriel had been a first-round pick, you guys would chalk up the Patriots game to, okay, Patriots are good, and he got a little greedy with a couple of those throws, but he hasn't done that a lot. We still believe in him, which is how Titans fans feel about Cam Ward, even though they have not been good at all. But because he's a third-round pick, because he wasn't really who you guys wanted in the third round, you're a lot more likely to move on from him. And I get that. That's natural. But give him the bye. I would say give him a couple more games. If he shows improvement, leave him in there. If he's getting worse, then you probably put Shedeur in. And at that point, Shedeur would still get, 7 games? I mean, that's at that point, if they had 6 for Gabriel, 7 for Shedeur, I think you feel pretty good about where those guys are at. And obviously, pending, whether they keep getting better or worse or whatever.
Ross, I never thought I'd say this or even ask the question, but watching what we're watching every Sunday makes me think that there is a chance that Deshaun Watson could play again for the Browns.
Yeah.
What say you?
I don't think so. When? This year?
Maybe. If he's healthy, if he's cleared.
Have mercy.
No, you know why? You know why they're not going to do that? They don't want. Well, I guess it doesn't matter if it's fully guaranteed. I was going to say, they don't want to do that because they don't want to get hurt. But I guess if they're on the hook for it anyway, you might as well put them out there. I doubt it, Dustin. But
I always doubted
I guess it's not outside the realm of possibility. The issue with that is, and this is a funny thing to say, but it's true. Let's say they gave Gabriel another game or 2, then Shedeur gets 3 or 4, and then they would put Watson in there. What happens if Watson really plays well?
Yeah, exactly.
What happens if Watson really plays at a high level? Then are you going into 2026 with Deshaun Watson as your quarterback? I mean, you want to talk about season ticket sales going
get
down.
Paid a lot of money,
that would
Ross.
not go well.
Wouldn't that be the big?
Well, I've heard that there's been rumors about that Tommy Rees, they're thinking about making Tommy Rees the play caller on the offensive side. We'll see. We'll see, man. It's rumors out there until it's actually facts. At the end of the day, man, as long as you have Dillon Gabriel out there as the quarterback, I don't give a damn who you have as the offensive play caller. You're not going to score points. You're not going to score touchdowns and put up points on the board because Dillon Gabriel is not the quarterback. He's not an NFL quarterback, period. And we got this guy right here just dancing around it. And a lot of the stuff that he's saying, man, it sounds like some BS. He's sitting here. He's tracking how many more games that Shedeur will play. If you put in Shedeur now, that means he'll have more games that he's played in Dillon Gabriel. So what you mean to tell me is this man has gotten worse each game. In his 4 games, he has gotten worse. And you mean to tell me that we're impatient? No, Dillon Gabriel cannot play, period. What type of eyesight do you have? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. He's the lowest rated quarterback in the league, and for damn good reason. He's pure D garbage. Somebody got to say it. Don't dance around it. Let's keep it real.
Biggest upset story of all time.
Well, Ross, one of the things that's funny about that is I can't remember a time when an owner, but this is the Browns. They do a first on a lot of different things, but I can't remember a time when I heard an owner say of a player still on the team, still owed about $150 million and still under contract for multiple seasons. I can't remember when an owner came out publicly and said, yeah, that was a pretty big mistake. That was on me.
Well, the Jets just did it last week. He's not owed as much money. But the Jets did the same thing with Justin Fields, and then he played the best game of his season.
Yeah, but I mean, I just can't imagine that after Haslam publicly admits it was a mistake and it's on him,
they're not putting him back out there.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
They're not putting him back out there, Dustin. That would really surprise me. And yeah, the Jets thing, I mean, to have a guy as your starting quarterback and say he can't complete a pass is just so you guys know, every time you think it's bad in Cleveland, and I know it's not good, there are worse franchises out there right now. I mean, think about what it's been like the last 10 years for the Jets. Think about the last 4 years, I think, for the Titans or the Saints. You know, the Browns, I do power rankings every week. They're not even in the bottom 5, which I know is probably stunning for you guys. but I don't think the Browns are in the bottom 5 of my power rankings. I'd have to check.
Ross, we have not sniffed the division. There's only 3 other teams in the division. We haven't won it since '89.
The Browns haven't been to a championship game in over 30 years. Those teams have. Or the Jets have.
Part of the problem is you guys are in a – well, part of the problem is you guys are in a really good division, and unfortunately, you haven't – this is the year that – this would have been the year to try to capture it, which is not going to happen. But with the Lamar injury and the Steelers really aren't that great, I mean, this would have been a good year. In fairness, I mean, listen, I know you want to win the division, and I know you want to go to the conference championship game. I get that. But they won a road playoff game in Pittsburgh. And if my boy from my hometown, Chad Henne, doesn't have that scramble, they probably are in the conference championship game, which would have been amazing a few years ago. But I get it. Listen, there's nothing I can say that's going to make you guys be happy about the Browns. I mean, if you brought me on here to make everybody happy about the Browns, you're giving me a really tough – I'm not getting paid enough.
It's an impossible job. Ross, let me ask you this. I think one of the problems right now, and there are many, how do you evaluate talent at quarterback when your wide receiver core is ranked 32nd in speed, 32nd in separation created, and leads the league in drops, and you have an offensive line that is, as you pointed out, well beyond its prime and among the probably in the lower 10 in the league at least? Like, how do you evaluate anybody in that environment?
Well, it makes it difficult. What you try to do is just isolate the quarterback position. So what does that mean? That means you know what the quarterback is supposed to do on every play. How efficiently is he doing it? You know where the ball is supposed to go against that coverage, against that defense, and maybe the receiver is not that open, but that's still where you want the ball to go. Does he go where the ball should go? Does he put the ball in timing, on time, anticipation, where it's supposed to go accurately? Those are the things you try to do. It's not easy. But I'll also tell you this, like, there's other quarterbacks out there that are just getting their brains bashed in. And I think Stefanski did a good job of not putting, his quarterbacks, in particular Gabriel, in that position where they're just getting hammered 30 times a game. And that does give them an opportunity to succeed. I personally think when Shedeur gets out there that it'll be worse, and it'll look a lot worse. But
worse. Bold statement. Worse. See, this is the problem. This is the problem that this little effer out here making these statements. He's clearly a homie. He must be a cousin of Dillon Gabriel and a cousin of Kevin Stefanski, because you have to be a fool to make a dumbass statement like that if you think that if Shedeur Sanders get out there, it's going to actually be worse. See, you have to listen what stupid ass people say out their dang mouth, because at the end of the day, Shedeur Sanders is not getting no first team reps. Shedeur Sanders has not played no regular season games. The only 2 quarterbacks that have played this season was Joe Flacco, who has been traded to Cincinnati, and you see how much he's balling. And it's just foolishness. It's foolishness. Stupid ass statement.
That remains to be seen. I think, Gabriel has done a pretty good job of getting the ball out of his hands on time. I don't think that'll happen with Shedeur.
Wow.
And I think it'll likely be real ugly in terms of the sack numbers, how many times Shedeur gets hit. I mean, if you guys think it's a tough watch now, I would say strap in for about a month from now.
Wow. Ross, it's been an interesting year in college football.
Wow.
We thought we had all these quarterbacks that were going to be these top draft picks and prospects and all this stuff, and yet it really is kind of like flipped upside down with some of the guys we thought were going to be really good. If you're the Browns, are you sitting here panicking, worrying that they're not going to be able to find a quarterback next year in the draft, or will there be somebody
talk about
that
Shador
comes
ain't
out of the
even there.
woodwork?
I don't think panicking or worrying is the right word, but I
Exactly.
would say
Hey, good job getting
disappointment.
the ball out of
I
his
think
hand.
if you're the Browns, you wanted as many of these guys
Oh, he's
to
stupid.
elevate themselves and show that they're top 10 players as possible, right? The Drew Allers, the Nussmeyers, even Arch Manning, even if he wasn't going to turn pro. You want as many of these guys, Lenora Sellers from South Carolina, to look like big-time quarterbacks as possible. So that's good for you. You know, even if you have the third pick in the draft or the fourth, and maybe you don't want to have to trade up, you know, with the Titans to get the number 1 overall pick. That hasn't happened. The flip side I would say is there are some other guys, the Simpson kid at Alabama, you know, Dante Moore at Oregon, Mendoza at Indiana, that have played at a really high level. What I think is interesting there, though, is it's like, okay, these guys kind of came out of nowhere to play at this high of a level. Are they really this
5-year
good?
NFL career.
Or if they
Garbage.
went back to school like Aller and Nussmeier and the other guys did, would they look bad the next year too? You know, you don't really know that. You have to go by what they're showing you this year.
He's
And
stupid.
these guys are going
I
to get
had
a chance
enough
to
of him.
play in some really big games, some playoff games. And I do think, you know, by January, there will be a guy or two that we're all saying, hey, that's the guy. You know, maybe kind of like Cam Ward last year and what he did at Miami. And then in the pre-draft process, everybody I talked to said it was very clear that Ward was the best prospect they thought. Maybe they can be that guy. The other thing I would tell you is that even if they're not thought of as that guy, I think Jackson.
Listen, man. That's enough of this fool right here. That's enough of this fool. Because at the end of the day, man, this guy, he lost me when he started talking crap about Shador Sanders, which your jackass, you want to take the bad play off of Dillon Gabriel and take the focus off Dillon Gabriel, and you want to, and basically what you're doing is you're shitting on Shador Sanders. Shador Sanders, let me tell you something. Shador Sanders stays rent-free in these Yahoo heads. These haters of Shador Sanders, you want to sit here and say that if you think this is rough, it's going to be even worse? Are you kidding me? When the dude can't even get no type of opportunity to play on the field in a regular season? What makes you think that? Dummy? What makes you think that, Ross? How was your NFL career? Probably garbage, because I don't even know you. 5 years. You probably stayed on the bench. No type of arm. How do you know if Shador Sanders is going to be worse than Dillon Gabriel? See, you have to listen, man. I had enough of them, man. It's nonsense. Nonsense. Makes no sense at all whatsoever, man. Free Shador Sanders. Trade Shador Sanders. Let him go to another team. Y'all can keep Dillon Gabriel. Keep him. Sink the ship. Sink it. But let Shador Sanders get another opportunity on another team to play football. And then we'll come back and we'll sock it to this dude right here. Oh, what's that you were saying now? That he's going to be much worse than Dillon Gabriel? Shut him up with your play, Shador. Because right here on this channel, we are not trashing my boy Shador Sanders. Nuh-uh. Not here. Y'all already know my motto, man. Keep your head on the swivel and always, man, stay positive. Take care.